Esta conferencia comenzará a grabarse.
So, welcome everybody.
Can you hear me?
Hi, Marek. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us today, this special session. Welcome everybody. I have started to record the session. You know that this means that if you stay with us, you are accepting that we will record it and publish it both in the ECCP, the European Cluster Collaboration Platform, and in the channels of the European Cluster Alliance. This is important to say. Today we are going to cover a really critical document or decision taken by the European Commission, the updated EU industrial strategy, and to present it, we have with us Marek Threor, that as you probably know, is the head team leader of clusters in the Euro, and also a very important part of this European Alliance Against Coronavirus. It's at the heart of what we are doing. So thank you very much, Marek, for preparing this presentation in a record time, because the document was published yesterday. And without any more introduction, Marek, I will give you the floor. Shall I give you the presentation rights?
Yes. If you can hear me. Yeah.
Let me.
Okay, can you see?
Yes.
Oh, super. So we can.
Not. Yes. Now it's perfect.
Yeah.
Go on.
Super.
Thank you.
Excellent. So let me just. Okay. So good morning, everyone. Happy to be here and to be able to present the updating of the 2020 New Industrial Strategy, building a stronger single market for Europe's recovery. This is the document which was published yesterday in midday. So still, we all need to digest the whole content of this. But we didn't want to delay this meeting. We decided to organize this meeting as soon as possible so that you have a chance to look at the documents. And I think we can put the link later on the chat. So what is this update about? And I want to emphasize that this is update of the already existing strategy, and the strategy which was published on the 10th of March 2020. And all the elements of this are still valid, but some new elements are coming into the picture, and some new emphasis are going to have been highlighted through this communication. But I want to stress that this is not new industry. This is not a breakthrough. It's not like Copernicus change in things. It's a very targeted update of the industrial strategy, which we published last year, focusing on the on what we experienced during last year, and updating the strategy on the basis of experiences and needs which you know were raised. So let me go slowly through this communication, that you can further go into the in depth in the content. I still there are still some things that I need to deepen as well together with you, and then I think on the basis of this presentation we can pick up together the points that we can have as separate sessions, in morning sessions, on the elements that are most relevant for clusters, and then we can deepen and have a hook of cluster role in implementing this communication. So saying said, so you see our strategy was published, as you remember. I made presentations here. Ula, we all know that this was based on 3 main pillars: green transition with the European Green Deal, achieving the target of 40%. Now, yesterday it was decided by the ambassadors of the INCORP that it's 55% by 2030. So it's like a very ambitious project highlight of this commission to get into the climate neutral continent by 2050. And then we had this digital transition, where it's obvious that without Industry 4.0 digital uptake, we'll be losing a competitive edge in the world. So the second pillar is highlighting the digital transition and focus on this. So green digital transition, what we call twin transition, and then being open to the world in global competitiveness. It was still time. I mean, Trump was in power. There was, or it's still raising lots of protectionism again, but we wanted to show that we are an open economy, and we wanted to leverage the impact of the size and the integration of the single market to set the global standard. So this was 10th of March, and nobody thought that suddenly, exactly the day after, the World Health Organization will announce a pandemic of COVID-19 in the world, and then we all started to have the big change in our lives, including starting to have morning meetings like today, and this is one of the good examples of positives from this COVID, that we launched this webinar series, and we can have very direct and open dialogue between Commission and clusters and stakeholders of clusters. So thinking positively about this, but nevertheless, we all know the 6.3% decline of EU economy. In some countries more, in some countries less. In Europe, mainly southern countries like Spain, Italy, very much hit by the crisis. Less so Central European or northern countries, but still this contraction is visible for people who needed to change the job or lost jobs. 60% of SMEs reported a fall in turnover, and 24% we experienced a fall in intra-Euro trade in the second and third quarter of 2020, and it shows as well the importance of the single market. If 1/4 of our intra-trade is blocked because of lockdowns, it affects significantly our operations. So 1.7% SME employment decrease in 2020, which might be considered in relative terms not that much, but it's still 1.4 million jobs. Of course, many flanking measures have been taken by member states and EU, like program SURE, React EU, to help not to lay off the people, but still 45% of firms expected to reduce investment in 2021, and this is obvious because of the increase of risk. So we had nice strategy, and then we were faced with something which was unexpected, COVID-19. So there was a clear need to update the industrial strategy to come to take the opportunity as well, the opportunity on the experiences that we we learned through the process, and I must admit many lessons from what we experienced during morning sessions of the European Cluster Alliance, where as well, if you read it through, considered in this communication, the fantastic work which was done with you was as well giving signals that things are moving ahead, and then we need to come up with some proposals. So our President von der Leyen announced this at the State of the European Union last year, that we need to update the industry strategy and adapt accordingly the competition framework as well. In the Council as well, single market strategic report called for progressing in addressing single market, but as well gave us the mandate to the Commission to work on lessons from the COVID, robustness of existing procedures, and need for non-regulatory or regulatory actions. It was then in October that they called for looking at strategic dependencies. So all of this, this is exactly what this update is about. This is about the experience from COVID for last year and what we can do about it. So the package adopted yesterday includes the SHAPO communication, which announces what are the key lessons, and then what we can do at EU level with our competences of the European Union. And is accompanied, this document is easy reading, 20 pages, but then I think very worth reading are this annual single market economy report, which is 200 pages with details, and strategic dependencies and capacities with 100 pages of analysis of what we are dependent on. And there's an additional staff working document which is dedicated towards the clean European steel industry. And the reason for this was that this is particularly important sector in terms of production, taking into account the low carbon target. So it's like an example of the measures to be taken in one of the sectors. So about SHAPO communication, we analyze the state of our economy at the moment of COVID, in COVID, post-COVID, lessons learned from this, and then we propose three measures, three blocks that concentrate on strengthening single market resilience, tackling Europe's strategic dependencies, and accelerating between green and digital transition. So actually, that we, as we always were saying, we are not stepping back, but we want to jump with the implementation of green and digital transition, looking at this COVID crisis as an opportunity rather than threat. So what is very important, and I want to stress this, we base right now our structure on industrial ecosystems. This approach of partnership, open dialogue with industry, all actors which are needed for creation the value of these ecosystems, from big to small enterprises, from research to universities, from civil society to and NGOs which can contribute to. So it's broader view. It's not just very strict company sectoral view, but it opens the mindset for all people to work together in order to build competitiveness of ecosystems. So we have reorganized as DG Grow in these directions. We have the units which are responsible for each ecosystems. We have now analysis which are focusing on these ecosystems. We have, and I must admit, we all in our cluster community, when we had these sessions in October last year, in our European cluster conference, we already anticipated all this, what is going on, and so this will be the way of and all analysis we are conducting in the EU industrial strategy as well. So let's go to the impact of the crisis. It, as you know, varies across the system, and companies, of course, with small companies being hit harder by obvious reasons, and ecosystems, as you can see here, the tourism by far year to year change of the turnover minus 30%. Textile as well, very much hit. You see here very clearly the different stages, the first wave, the second wave, and we hope there won't be a third wave or longer wave, third wave. And the way tourism, textile, proximity and social economy ecosystem. However, we have always problems to gather data for this new ecosystem. I mean, the ecosystem which was not recognized for so long is now being recognized, but still data and statistics for this is very problematic. Then we have mobility and transport. So the most hit and culture and creative industries, which we have as well problems with data. So the most tourism, textile, proximity, mobility, and culture. So you see service. So all these countries which were in the structure of the GDP had this more shares of this in the structure of GDP. They are more hidden by default. These are, as I said, Spain, Italy, Portugal, Greece. But the hope is that actually when it comes back, it can be very steep recovery. But still, confidence indicator, if you can see on the right side, there is it coincides. I mean, it's obvious. It's improving for tourism, textile. So it's the optimism coming with the vaccination advancing, with less lockdown, relieving the lockdown constraints. This all graphs you can go, and there are more details in this in the staff working document on the single market report. So then what are the main lessons? Actually, in the communication, the European Commission concentrated on three main issues, which we found the most visible and most destructive during the period. So first, borders restricting free movement of people, goods, and services. This, particularly in the first moment, it created really the disruptions, and we noticed how much we are all dependent on each other in the EU single market. And we realized as well how important Europe is to have this the movement of people and cross-border to ship goods from Finland to Spain and from Poland to Germany, or from Germany to Poland. This is something that suddenly was not imaginable to happen, but it happened, and it created the problems in the single market. And of course, interruption in global supply chains affecting availability of essential products, and we all remember the issues with the ventilators, the masks, and disruptions of the supply chains. In this group, we discussed for so many times. And of course, disruption of demand, because if you don't have clients to go to the hotel, if you don't have people who need to buy new textiles, then the demand is decreasing, and then of course it has an impact on the businesses. So we come with three main blocks of solutions. So we want to strengthen the resilience of the single market, support Europe's open strategic autonomy through dealing with dependencies, and supporting the business case for twin transitions. let me go now to resilience. So resilience of the single market means that we are able to react very quickly to the situation of disruption in short term, and to prepare for long-term vulnerabilities, or find mitigations for our vulnerability which we can anticipate in the future. So there's a single market is definitely has been proven as a very important element for having this disruption mitigation. We want to strengthen this single market. So there are some three main things we want to do. Single market emerging instrument we announced to provide a structural solution to ensure the availability and free movement of persons, goods and services in the context of possible future crises. With the single market emergency instrument, this is something that is work in progress, and we will work HERA this new establishment of this new entity will play a particular role in the situation when we have to deal with the pandemic or any healthy problems like we have now. This is under development. The European Health Emergency Preparedness and Response Authority, following the HERA incubation communication, today will be as well published communication on therapeutics for COVID. But this has to do with the proper with all this element which was discussed in this group. So standard setting and sharing, fast track conformity assessment. So building the mechanism where we can react quickly, reinforcing public procurement cooperation. So this is work ongoing with governance tools and procedures to be improved at each level, EU, national, regional level, improved transparency and coordination on intra-EU export restrictions, for example, and services restrictions, structures and tools to facilitate circulation of goods and services in the context of border restrictions, so this doesn't happen. We had the green lane, you remember, we needed to introduce once the countries established this, and targeted measures for speedier product availability when we have to deal with critical inputs. We will enhance market surveillance procedures. We all experience the fact that there are counterfeiting or quality of products were not proper. Some examples from our meetings as well, from the countries, and the exchange, reinforced cooperation and information sharing in public procurement. You remember the stories about standardization in one country and another country. So these lessons we will further dig in. There is also announced the upcoming contingency plan for transport and mobility. So we will single market emergency instrument, deepening the single market, and then we will as well increase the monitoring of the single market on the basis of the annual analysis of the state of the single market as well in each of the 14 industrial ecosystems. And here I want to what I'm saying is, of course, everything in the communication and the staff working documents. There's we introduced some key performance indicators which we want to monitor steadily, including the indicators on intra-EU trade, price dispersions across member states, labor productivity, global market share, EU global market share, and extra-EU trade, public and private investment as a percentage of GDP, and research and development, public and private investment to support innovation. To be honest, all of these elements are going to be reviewed to see where we stand as well in each ecosystems, and measures will be taken in order to improve or keep this positive indicators. So there is right now we might go through details, but I think this would take at this moment too much time. It's better that I highlight the elements of the communication, and then we can in separate sessions dig in, taking as well on board the colleagues who are dealing particularly with this specific topics. So the second lesson, I think, as well very interesting. We all were talking about critical inputs, critical technologies when we discussed in our meetings the way we want to design the joint cluster initiative as well to tackle this problem. So key actions for this, we are going to have the main lessons is that we need to be more independent, but as well keeping openness. So we want to ensure periodic review of strategic dependencies and provide specific support to increase resilience of SMEs. We want to diversify our imports. We see new opportunities with business Biden administration to work strongly with the US. In some areas, we still lack domestic strategic capacity that we need to strengthen, and industrial alliances, clusters, support development of new state aid, the projects for common European interest with special state aid regime are going to be taken into account. So what is the all on this dependency? Very much details are in the staff working document, where are interesting elements. So we have a high concentration on imports and limited production in the EU, mainly when we look at 137 products out of 5,200 products were analyzed, and this means that we out of these products, half of them are coming from China, some from Vietnam, but you see how dependent we are on China in critical inputs. 34 products were identified as very vulnerable, as it's very difficult to diversify or find substitutes. Maybe it's a case for research and innovation here, particularly in raw materials for energy-intensive industries and for health, the active ingredients. There are also in-depth analysis of 6 strategic areas in raw materials, batteries, active pharmaceutical ingredients, hydrogen, semiconductors, cloud, and ed technology, where we have in-depth analysis in the staff working document. We are going to have further in-depth reviews for renewables, energy storage, and cybersecurity as well, soon coming. So, but it's not only that the EU is dependent on the others are dependent on us as well. So you can see here on this the dependent country. So its comparison with the US and China. So it's not that we are only dependent on the others, but the others are dependent on us. And here you can see that the US, for example, is dependent on 260 products. So as you can see here, there's still the very interesting picture that we are. If you look at this, actually, people, the others are more dependent from us than us from the others, but it doesn't mean that we can be dependent on so many products. So in some, of course, it depends very much on the ecosystem. We are leaders in advanced manufacturing, and now catching up very much with hydrogen and batteries. Alliances which we established are very helpful for this, but we are still lagging very much behind in semiconductors, on cloud and solar. So we will need to take actions for decreasing this dependence. So going further, as we said, we want to as well accelerate the green and digital transition. So it's not going to be just the recovery, but recovery with a jump, and we have all this multi-annual financial framework with 1.8 billion euro to make it. And so there are some actions which are foreseen in the communication transition pathways. So this is the way to co-create together with industry and stakeholders transition pathways for the critical for the ecosystems, for the critical and not only for the supply chains, which lead to lower carbon, to less energy efficiency, to more energy efficiency, to less to more renewable energy use. This is here we are talking about using all our alliances, partnerships, co-creation projects. Then together with create multi-country projects to support recovery and having helping the countries to have common projects under recovery and resilience facility. Analysis of the steel sector. These are specific measures in the staff working document. You can see analysis and use of Horizon Europe partnerships. Actually, and yesterday at the expert group on clusters, we had the colleagues from DG Research who was presenting partnerships. We will organize, as Antonio mentioned, a separate session on this. 49 partnerships where clusters can play important role in putting in place innovative solutions. And abundant, accessible, and affordable decarbonized energy. To accelerate investments in renewables, grids, and address barriers of further investments in renewable energy. What's up for SMEs and us as European Cluster Collaboration? We actions which we will be undertaking under European Cluster Collaboration platform on clusters with our joint cluster initiative and Enterprise Europe Network and the European Digital Innovation Hub will be in the direction to happen to the green transition happen, and it goes for nitty-gritty projects which will lead to this workshop, expertise, hackathons, whatever we are going to organize during this the new annual. So I think I want to highlight here the role of industrial alliances and the industrial forum, as actually we found this is very important in having the co-creation process, as we are having a co-creation process at regional level with smart specialization. Here we want to have a co-creation process at meta EU level with EU industries, and the Commission will support industrial alliances. We announced the launch of the Alliance on Processors and Semiconductor Technologies and the Alliance for Industrial Data, Edge and Cloud. And we are considering the preparation of Alliance on Space Launchers and Alliance on Zero Emission Aircraft. As you can see, all this is very interesting for different clusters we have, and industrial forum, very important body where we want to channel all this information from experts, from members, 55 members, but I think that this is the body which will have very important role in order to shape the actions. So staff working documents, maybe because time is going to want to leave some time for discussion. I encourage you to look in depth in single market economy report, where we have as well the different fishes presented for different ecosystems, where we show the current situation, how we want to tackle the issues in the ecosystem, our goals, investment needs, and collaborative policy making, including of course clusters. In the annexes we have as well key performance indicators, methodology, and overview. You can have a look at, and one of the I just picked out some graphs from there. You can see here the graph where how countries were impacted by COVID in terms of GDP contraction and intra-EU trade. You see Greece, Croatia, Cyprus, Italy to the less extent, but this is quite a good analysis there. So the other very interesting is the staff working document, strategic dependencies that you can see in all this performance, but key messages are that the bottom-up mapping actually identifies product dependencies, and in order to do, you need to really do a micro analysis of the supply chains of the products. You need to really go in depth. It's not only a macro picture, so you can have even one ingredient which can start the whole supply chain, as we saw in different cases. So and then separate for the steel, which I'm not going to talk about because this is very specific. Maybe if you interest from some clusters, we can have a specific session for this. So thank you for this, and I went through it in order to raise discussion, and then I would ask if you can hook up of some elements that you find interesting, that together with Antonio, I think we could organize special sessions with the colleagues who are dealing particularly with the topic. So thank you very much, and sorry for being so long, but I think this deserves the timing. Thank you. Antonio, to you.
In fact, you are very welcome, Marek. In fact, you have been quite comprehensive and quick on the review, because document or a documentation that we need to study carefully, and it merits the time. So thank you. I have some questions, but I prefer to open the floor now for the attendants, the rest of the attendants. Who is the first?
Maybe okay.
No, I can. If not, I can read a question from Jaime, or would you share it, Jaime?
Yes, Antonio, thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. It's a very, very quick question. Congratulations, Mark, for the very good presentation, as usual. One of the focus of the industrial strategy is to reinforce the co-creation process between the green and the digital agendas. How do you see, in fact, the role of this industrial ecosystem on that? Do you think that the ecosystems will have a very practical role on that? Thank you.
Yeah. I think that this is how we structured, and actually when we think now about, for example, digital innovation hubs, they have the digital innovation hub network. When we discuss, they see the embedding the whole green transition into the digital transition as well when we discuss with them. So these are not separate things. It goes in parallel. For us, we have this ecosystem, but it's illustrative. It's not accounting. It's just illustrative, and they overlap with each other. They go around. So we have digital and we have construction. We have why you are thinking about the eco-innovation in construction. You have all energy efficiency solutions, which are software with smart houses, but as well the electronics behind it. So it all goes together. And then I think the calls that we will be launching, I think they will go in this direction, in Horizon, in calls in the European Regional Development Fund, or our joint cluster initiative will go as well in this direction of integrating this transition, which goes together. So it's not contradicting each other. I know if I responded to your question, but
yes, that's okay. Thank you. Very good.
Celine, bonjour, Celine. Welcome.
Bonjour. Hi, everybody. Hi, Marek. Thank you for your very nice and clear presentation. Yes, I think that the question of Chaim it was very important, because what we miss, I think, is transversal programs, really transversal, putting together and combining different domains between the 14 big issues that were defined, and also in another dimension, how the scales and the different territorial governance should be coordinated. In particular, the role of cities, metropolitan areas, even maybe regions in this, in this framework of policies, how to coordinate the regional and the urban policies within national policies.
Thank you for this question. As you know, I had a long history, 11 years with the regional policy and territorial dimension, and I must admit always there was an issue about aligning the top-down with bottom-up policies. What we see now in this industrial policy, it's not a sector. So you see, it's ecosystem. We introduced the notion of ecosystems, which is actually putting emphasis on the on networks, linkages between all actors in the ecosystems who contribute, and all actors meaning as well at multi-level governance level. It is now at the same time is going the process of developing smart specialization strategies at regional level, and our experience is actually that it's very often that the regional authorities or businesses at the regional level are implicitly aligning to top priorities. So we assume, and I think this was the experience 2014-20 when we had the main
but
objectives.
The role of coordination of different regions, because how to coordinate the different regions.
No, for coordination of the different regions, then we have for the cross. We have the instruments in Horizon or in our joint cluster initiative. We will, or interregional innovation investment, we will, or innovation ecosystem actions, we will actually pursue this. But if you are talking about coordination, it has to do with the governance, multi-level governance. And I think the strategies being developed at regional level will take into account as well the EU main objectives. And besides having formal coordination, which is happening anyway, because there's discussions, there are different fora, there are exchanges, there are policy learning facilities. So this is happening, but it will happen as well because I mean, if you're from business, if you are a business, you see as well what are your possibilities. If you know that we are going for supporting battery alliance, it means as well that we are developing the automotive industry in this direction. It means as well the whole value chain and supply chain is going to change. The SMEs which are working on this, they will already anticipate the actions in order to be on the market. So either they will shift to other areas, or they will repurpose their production, or they will find the neutral. So I think that's why I think this communication is very important, because this gives some visions in which directions the whole boat is going, and then for everyone to take actions. And as you know, we are quite diverse economy. We are not the state. We are the European Union, but it's not the state like China, the state like United States. You know, we are not federal state. So we have a specific way of governance in the EU, including relations with our partners outside the EU.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you very much.
I mean, there is no comment and rule which prevails in the EU. Just to be clear.
So maybe it is still something to invent and to develop more, no?
I think it gives opportunity to tailor it to the needs of each ecosystem, regional ecosystem. I mean, yeah. To each regional and industrial ecosystem, depending on the context of the structure you have. I think this is beauty in this flexibility. Yeah. That you are not imposing the production of renewable energy from biomass in the areas where you have still potential for renewable energy from solar. Or vice versa. You adjust to your local conditions and to your local economic tissue.
But local and global.
Local and global, but I think we in our communication we highlight what are our global directions we want to go for.
No, because different sectors.
Sorry, I will suggest to jump to another. Sorry, because if not, there are many questions on the list. Sorry, Celine. It's a very, very interesting point, but I will suggest to give time to the rest. Thank you. So, Patrick, you were asking about the private-public partnerships.
Yes, good morning, Antonio. Yes. Maybe I missed the point, but thank you, Marek, for the presentation. Regarding the connection between these new industrial alliances with the former public-private partnership we have been working with the past year. And a similar question I had in mind is related to in combination to clusters, the link with ecosystem like EIT or KIC model. We had a session last week or the week before. And how do you consider to embed all these players?
I think that this is the task for our new unit. Actually, I think this is the way we are going to do, because when we and in expert group we are as well brought all these elements, because if you look the public-private partnerships, they will be we discussed it yesterday as well. There's institutional partnerships or co-funded partnerships. You have a range 49 partnerships, and the calls will be launched in the second half of this year. So there will be possibility for the ones who are now in the lead as well to continue. But the link between alliances, partnerships from Horizon, thematic smart specialization partnerships, we have 30 regional partnerships as well, topics, and as well the missions. This is something that we will need to organize as governance, and we identified this issue, and that's why probably we were reorganized in a way that we have the unit and the whole directorate in DG Grow on network and governance. It's called network and governance. Exactly that we will bring all these links together and operationalize it with different tools we might have, be it workshops, be it working groups, common working groups, being the common projects, being the calls which are incentivizing exactly the collaboration. And for ICT KIC, ICT KIC Digital Innovation Hubs, EN working group on ICT and ICT clusters all together. And this we will now have the whole picture together, so that we don't duplicate but reinforce. Yeah.
As Marek said before, yesterday we have a very interesting session about the partnerships, PPP partnerships, and we invited Margaret, the person from the RTD, to present them to this during these morning sessions, and I think it will be an extremely interesting session to attend. We want to encourage clusters participating on them. Now is the opportunity, because as Marek said, the call will be published probably next June, okay? And we had some good news, because in fact Margaret told us that they should be open for the participation of clusters. They told us that she told us that if we are contributing with real value to the partnerships, we should be accepted, okay? So, but we need to explain it carefully to you. We need to give you all the details, and we are looking for references. So if you or anyone that you know is working with our current partnerships, please give us the reference, because we want to have both sides in the session, you know, the side of the PPP, but also the side of those clusters that have been working with them, okay, to understand how they are making the process, how they are taking benefits, and so on. Marek.
And here, because in the case of partnerships, we will have there, you know, already this 49 partnerships. There is a certain framework which cannot be changed, but there are some topics for this partnership. So like I named cybersecurity, photonics, high performance computing, and robotics. So I think the issue yesterday was that to have enough scope and scale to be able to contribute to the partnership, and I think this is maybe as well the work to be done to consolidate the clusters which could be together in these partnerships, and the topics are known. Maybe we can distribute it so that people start thinking about before the partnership. We will have the meeting on partnerships, so that we can have already some outputs of bringing people together on specific topics. So it's not like on every partnership. It's like concrete partnerships, and we have concrete clusters which can think about contributing and respond to the call. Yeah.
So we will speak a lot more on that. It's a very important point. Aurora, bon dia.
Bon dia. Good morning. my question is an old question. I think the financial systems are key for the functioning of everything, and they also have suffered. They also have made suffer others, and also have been solution. If we still keep them out of our eyes, maybe maybe it's a danger. So I would suggest that even not having a square or a circle for banks, that this should be kept up under our eyes, and think about that system.
Yes, Aurora, I mean, you're absolutely right. The thing is, this is what I was as well always advocating, the integration as well, the role in clusters, for example, to have intermediate financial intermediaries to be in the clusters, so that. But I mean, it's not in this communication. This part is not covered. There are other communications on specifically for the financial services market, but it's not here. I need to look at this as well, but I can come back on this. But this is in the remit of financial services. Yeah, but I mean, you're right. I mean, it should be considered.
I will take the opportunity to say that my presidency, the Cluster Idea presidency, is a bank. It's the Ibercaja Bank. And in fact, we are collaborating with them a lot on proposals for the recovery and resilience facility in Spain, just to provide the companies with the possibility to have the funding to invest on some of the projects. Not only the public money, but the money coming from the private side.
To this extent, the communication is tackling the issue of liquidity and solvency of late payment of SMEs. So indirectly, it has to do as well with the banking system on how to find new tools. I don't know, factoring or something which can help the companies to operate in this period. There are some solutions as monitoring of late payment and some proposal for template recognized, but I don't. I will need to look at this.
And sorry, they also have to contribute to this change and to the digitalization. Banks are the entities that still use COBOL, the old COBOL, and they're also, on my point of view, I'm not working on banks, but I also have to use them. And on my point of view, there is a lot of fintechs on the startups. And if the banks are not including these on a peaceful way, on a very structured and analyzed way, the strengths of the where the money is on the financial side of where the money is may cause some let's say some waves on the economy due to this change that the banks have to make. So I think they are also not only a helper to the others, but also entities to be under analysis.
I see it's on page 9 where we are discussing the late payment. The EU Observatory on Late Payments is going to be created on unfair payment practices and address unfair payment practices, exacerbating payment delays and often leading to long disputes. The Commission will design and implement pilot alternative dispute resolution scheme. Alternative dispute resolution scheme. If you want to go into details, we can invite our colleagues. I don't know details on what they propose here, to be honest, but I think they have already something in mind. So indirectly through late payments, they are taking into account. But what is in detail? So I cannot tell you now.
Marek, we have still some questions. Thank you. We have still some questions. I don't know if you have some more minutes, Marek. Would you be able to?
Yeah, we had this COVID task force. I mean,
Okay.
but,
So we need to close.
but no, let's move. I think.
Okay. Thank
Eva
you.
will join the
Borja,
meeting.
very quickly.
Yes,
Borja,
I'll go to the other meeting. I'll see you
Yeah,
later.
quickly, and thank you very much, Antonio. Thank you, Mary. I am Borja Pena from CEAGA in Galicia Automotive Cluster in northwest of Spain. A very quick, concrete question about the important projects of common European interest. The European Commission will prepare a public call to select this kind of project, or the national government prepare call to select this project with the Next Generation EU? What is the system that we can use to select this kind of project?
It can come as the national authorities can come to the Commission saying that there is a big idea for coming projects, and they think that there's an issue with the state aid, and there's a market failure, and there's a need for so that the Commission and notify with the comp the project, and then it will be analyzed, verified, discussed with the member states, group of member states, or it can be the groups of companies which will come, but without the member state support, I think it's much more difficult. But I think the best way, if you must show that this is really European common interest, and that's why member states are very important, because they are the owners of the European Union at the end of the day. In the sense that there's a council.
Thank you very much.
Alberto. I don't know if Alberto is with us. Or,
yes, I am.
Yeah.
I'm still here. Well, I think we are out of time, so just congrats, Marek, for the effort of putting together all these issues. Well, I was interested to have some more details on dependency, but I've in the meantime, I found the staff working document, so I think it's a very interesting analysis, a lot of insight for also the reorganization of the value chain, and just if there is some specific action on this, but we will have the time to discuss it with more with more time, because I know now it's a complex issue, but thanks for the presentation.
I must say, for reading the documents, this is as well, inspiration for the Joint Cluster Initiative. What we want to tackle, we always were saying that in Joint Cluster Initiative we want to tackle the critical inputs, critical technologies. Here we have some hints what we could tackle, but everything needs to be still discussed and open. But now with this analysis, we know where we have difficulties in the EU. But when going into nitty-gritty supply chains, I can now see from the vaccine perspective, for example, you have very nitty-gritty ingredient which can completely distort the supply chain, and so it's very hard to find this. Even our colleagues did a fantastic job in analytical unit, but knowing each single supply chain and value chain from the perspective without the industry, without companies being involved, or it's not possible. So there might be some critical which we cannot detect, and they are.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
The last question, Marie, are you there? I don't see. Yeah.
Me, Maura. Hi, how's everyone? I'm just wondering, it sounds like there's a lot of buy-in needed, and communication is really key. Something that maybe, the top mightn't portray as well. How can we, you know, break down these barriers and get people to trust each other and better to buy in?
This is the question which deserves the separate meeting. Because
I apologize.
No, fine. I mean, at the regional level, I've been working on this, you know, entrepreneurial discovery process, the breaking silos in smart specialization, in horizontal between then multi-level between EU between departments. It's absolutely crucial, but and between clusters as well, huh? Between members. But this is there are tools. We can have a specific meeting on this. I think this deserves specific topic meeting, Anthony. I think.
Excellent point, Mary. You will be
Participatory
invited.
leadership
Send us an email and we will organize it. It's a very excellent point. Okay, thank you very much, Marek. We know that we are delaying you in your next meeting. Thank you. It has been an extremely interesting session. Really, we will share the recording soon in our YouTube channel also. So you are invited to continue working with this, because with this strategy, EU industrial policy strategy, we are going to work a lot. Thank you very much and see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.